Welcome to Sally Fox audiobook Demon Slayer Facing My Father, The Upper Moon, Chapter 109 to 117, I'll Watch You from Hell. 1,546 words. Boom! With a deafening crash, the two bodies tangled together once more. They kept grappling. Fists flying. Falling. Getting back up again. Collision after collision. Punch after punch. Shinazugawa Sanemi. Hashibara Inosuke. The two men, who had just crashed to the ground, almost simultaneously sprang up again, fists raised, hurling themselves toward each other. A dull, heavy impact rang out. Thud. But this time, Shinazugawa Sanemi's body, like a kite with its string cut, was blown backward the instant it met Inosuke's fist. He flew through the air and smashed hard into a muddy pool of blood, filthy water splashing everywhere. Inosuke remained frozen in his punching stance. His fist trembled slightly. Only he knew. That punch hadn't used any strength at all. And yet the man known as the Wind Hashira, the mad dog who never seemed to tire, had fallen. Ha! Sanemi lay prone on the ground, fingers weakly clawing at the earth. All his fingernails had been torn off, flesh mangled and bloody. Every breath he took came with a wheezing sound, like a torn bellows. His rare blood was nearly gone. His body temperature was plummeting. The mark was fading. Reached his limit. Mad dog. Inosuke's voice exploded above him, panic bleeding through despite his tone. That's it? You're down already? Get up. It's not dawn yet. You want to die here? Inosuke glanced east. The sky had shifted from pitch black to deep blue. Behind the clouds, the faintest hint of pale dawn was forming. The sun was about to rise. Hold on a little longer, damn it. Just a few more minutes. Stop lying there playing dead. He rushed over, grabbed Sanemi by the collar, and forcibly hauled him up off the ground. Aren't you supposed to be the best fighter? Aren't you supposed to kill demons? Swing your fists. Sanemi's head drooped limply. Blood dripped from his hair onto Inosuke's hand, scalding hot. With immense effort, he opened his swollen eyes. Through the blood-matted haze, he saw Inosuke's mismatched eyes red with desperation. And then he saw the distance. Genya was still screaming, still being tormented by the rampaging lower rank, yet stubbornly guarding his vitals, refusing to fall. My little brother. Sanemi's body jerked violently. Obsession. Like a shot straight to the heart, stabbed into his dying consciousness. Ah! A broken growl tore from his throat. His blood-soaked fist trembled as he lifted it, pouring everything he had left into a soft, powerless punch against Inosuke's chest. The force was so weak it was like brushing dust away. Is playing dead. He pushed Inosuke aside and swayed to his feet. His legs shook violently, his knees cracking under the strain, but he still forced his spine straight. Again and again. Knocked down by Inosuke, then back up. Knocked down again, then back up. To outsiders, it looked like Inosuke was brutally, one-sidedly beating the Wind Hashira. But Sanemi could feel it. Every time he fell, Inosuke shouted insults to mask how weak he was becoming. Every time he rose, Inosuke subtly slowed his attacks, sometimes even exposing openings on purpose so Sanemi could land a few hits. He was buying time. He was waiting for the sun. At that moment, the last shred of doubt in Sanemi's heart vanished completely. Inosuke is really trying to save me. Inosuke. Sanemi suddenly grabbed Inosuke's wrist as he was about to throw another punch. His voice was eerily calm, lucid in a way that only comes before death. Can't keep going. He smiled bitterly as blood bubbled from his mouth. My body. I know it. My lungs are shattered. Listen to me. He stared straight into Inosuke's eyes, desperation burning there. Cut off my head. Take it back to the Demon Slayer Corps. Tell the Master. I died protecting civilians. I'll tell the Crow that you're innocent. That this was my fault. His fingers tightened, nails digging deep into Inosuk's flesh, his last remaining strength. Use my life to get yourself back. Can you promise me one thing? Let Genya live. Don't let him keep killing demons. Let him live like a normal person. Have children, grow old. I still don't know what you're trying to do. But I believe you now. I'm sorry for misunderstanding you before. Sanemi let go. His body fell backward. He abandoned all resistance, accepting death calmly. Inosuk froze. He stared at the man falling away from him, at this lunatic who treated his own life like a bargaining chip, tossed out like trash. A tidal wave of fury shattered his reason. What the hell are you saying? Inosuk roared. He lunged forward, seized Sanemi's collar, and violently yanked him back upright, refusing to let him collapse. Trade your life so I can go back? Inosuk's eyes were blazing red, spit flying into Sanemi's face. What do you take me for? Huh? Do you think I did all this just to let you die? Live, damn it. He grabbed Sanemi tightly and slammed their foreheads together. Who cares about going back to that damn Demon Slayer Corps? I want everyone to live. If you die, what happens to Genya? You want him to live his whole life drowning in guilt? Thinking he killed his own brother? Stand straight. Inosuk punched Sanemi hard in the chest, striking his heart to force it to keep beating. This fight isn't over yet. As long as the sun isn't up. As long as I haven't said stop. You keep fighting. Do you understand? Shinazugawa Sanemi. This is an order. Sanemi looked at the boy in front of him. At that once arrogant, unruly face now twisted with genuine terror. He laughed. Tears mixed with blood streamed down. Seriously? I lose to you. On the other side of the battlefield, the fight between Genya and Masasaburo had reached its most brutal stage. Genya was soaked in blood. A huge chunk of flesh had been torn from his shoulder, black claw marks covering his body. And yet, like a bull, he clung to Masasaburo's waist, biting savagely into his neck. Masasaburo, the newly appointed lower rank 6, was in an even stranger state. Genya was biting him, yet he seemed unable to feel pain. His vertical, cat-like eyes were fixed on the distance. There. Kotoha. Like a spotless bodhisattva. Even in such a deadly battlefield, she was protected perfectly. Her gaze was gentle. Like the unreachable pure land from his dreams. And then he looked at himself. Neither human nor demon. Full of poison and cursed blood. Being torn at by a human boy like a rabid dog. His mother was dead. Killed by his own poison. He had become a demon. Only to be trampled beneath the Demon King's feet. Why? Black, bloody tears streamed from his eyes. Why, no matter how hard I try, my mother still can't go to the Pure Land? Why did I kowtow 100 times, only to be given poison? It's not fair, it's not fair. This was his obsession. And the source of his blood demon art. A home he could never return to. Blood demon art, pure bliss rebirth arsenic cataclysm. Masasaburo's body suddenly began to swell violently. The blood vessels beneath his skin turned a sickly purple, writhing like venomous snakes, spreading across his entire body. An overwhelmingly strong scent of bitter almonds poured out from him. This was his only blood demon art. And his final one. All his demon blood. All his hatred. All his poison. Detonated in a single instant. A technique that could only be used once. The price. Total annihilation of the soul. Let go of me. Run. Genya sensed the terrifying energy building inside Masasaburo, though he didn't understand it was self-destruction. He struggled desperately, trying to restrain him. Masasaburo looked at Genya. Then at Kotoha in the distance. This distance. Several hundred meters. Enough to kill the godchild's mother. Enough to kill this bastard biting him. Heh. Masasaburo smiled. A smile as innocent as that of a 6-year-old child. Scenes flashed through his mind. A shabby hut. A leaking roof. A woman who always saved her only rice ball for him. The woman who hugged him and told him he was the best child in the world. Mom. I guess. I'm not going to the Pure Land. I killed someone. I became a demon. He looked up at the black sky, as if seeing his mother waving to him. You go on without me. Go to a place with no hunger, no sickness. Your son will watch you. From hell. And that's enough. Let's go to hell together. Boom. A world-shaking explosion tore through a corner of Yoshiwara. Purple toxic mist billowed upward like a massive mushroom cloud, carrying annihilation as it instantly swallowed Genya. And surged wildly toward Kotoha. A toxin so deadly that even a single drop would rot flesh and rupture organs. Genya. From the brink of death, Sanemi heard the explosion. His howl of despair was drowned out by the blast. The poison surged toward them all. You can read full book on Pia Trian if you're interested. Patreon.com/Cannonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals. Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Chapter 110, have you still not understood the situation? 1924 words. Rumble. Purple poisonous fog surged outward with world-destroying force, sweeping in all directions. At that critical, life-or-death instant. Whoosh! A white afterimage flashed past, so fast it seemed to surpass the flow of time itself. The upper rank two who usually wore a carefree smile revealed, in this moment, a speed so terrifying it chilled the soul. 1 second before the poison mist touched the hem of Kotoha's clothes, Doma was already standing in front of Kotoha and Nezuko. He spread his arms wide, wrapping both of them tightly into his embrace, shielding them with his own body. Sizzle, sizzle. The deadly poison slammed into Doma's back, producing a skin-crawling sound of corrosion. His expensive cult leader robes vanished instantly. The flesh on his back rotted and blackened under the toxin, even exposing stark white bone. He didn't even frown. He simply lowered his head, looked at the completely unharmed Kotoha in his arms, and showed his familiar smile. It's okay, Kotoha-chan. It's just a little dirty. Don't look. Close your eyes. At the same time. Destructive death, annihilation form. Akaza flashed in front of Tanjiro and Zenitsu in an instant, throwing a punch that released a shockwave, forcibly blasting the incoming poison mist apart. Daki and Jotaro cursed loudly, but their bodies were honest. Her sashes danced wildly, weaving an airtight net that blocked the remaining shockwaves. At the center of the battlefield, Shinazugawa Sanemi had already closed his eyes, waiting for death to claim him. He couldn't move. He had no strength left to dodge. But the pain he expected never came. Sanemi snapped his eyes open. His pupils shrank violently. Before him, that boy was kneeling on one knee, back turned toward him. Hashibara Inosuke. He looked unfamiliar. A version Sanemi had never seen before. Blue markings crawled across his face. His silver-red hair danced in the fading shockwaves. Demonization. Inosuke used his not-so-broad back to block the poisonous cloud meant for Sanemi. Hiss. Smoke rose from Inosuke's back. His flesh melted under the toxin, then regenerated rapidly under the power of demonization. The pain was no different from being flayed alive. Inosuke let out a muffled groan, black blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. He slightly turned his head and shot a vicious glare at the stunned Sanemi behind him with his multicolored eyes. What are you staring at? The poison mist finally dispersed. Yoshiwara's streets had become a complete wasteland. Buildings were riddled with corrosion, and purple toxic residue pooled across the ground. In the east, the horizon had begun to pale. The first ray of sunlight gathered strength behind the clouds. Dawn's almost here, Doma said, straightening up as the wounds on his back regenerated at a visible pace. He glanced at Inosuk, then at the white-haired man protected behind him. Understanding flickered through his rainbow-colored eyes. I see now. Soft-hearted child you are. Doma smiled. Since it was his son's decision, as a doting father, he would naturally see it through. Then let today's lesson end here. He waved his hand, the golden fan reappearing in his grip. Daki, Jotaro, and Lord Akaza. It's time for us to go. Sunlight is bad for the skin, after all. And Kotoha-san doesn't like tanning. Let's go. Doma took Kotoha's hand and gently tidied her slightly messy hair. Let's find a nicer inn, sleep through the day, and come out again tonight. Whoosh. Several figures vanished like phantoms into the shadows before dawn. Only one sentence lingered in the air. Inosuk, don't forget to come back early for breakfast. The battlefield fell silent. Only ruins remained. And a few boys standing amid the devastation. Cough, cough. Sanemi coughed violently, every breath bringing up clotted blood. But he ignored his own injuries. Like a dog with its spine broken, he propped himself up on his elbows and crawled forward with all his strength. Toward that place. The center of the explosion. Where Genya had last stood. Genya. Sanemi's voice was hoarse, trembling on the edge of collapse. He crawled over rubble, over wreckage. Finally. He saw it. Inside the massive crater lay something that could barely still be called a body. Genya was unrecognizable. His limbs had been blown apart, scattered around. His chest was torn open with a massive hole, inside which shattered organs still faintly twitched. That stubborn face. Half of it had been corroded down to bare bone. The other half was a bloody mess. Ah! Sanemi froze. His mind went completely blank, as if his soul had been ripped away. Ah! No! No! His hands trembled as he reached out, wanting to touch his brother, yet too afraid to. He feared that one touch would cause Genya to crumble completely. Why? Tears burst forth, mixing with blood on his face, dripping onto Genya's ruined body. Why did you follow me? I just wanted you to live. Aha! On this morning about to welcome the light. Sanemi cried until his heart tore apart. Everything was gone. He had killed demons desperately. Grown stronger desperately. Pushed his brother away desperately. And still, he couldn't protect him. In this world, his only family, his only obsession. Shattered. Sanemi's breathing grew weaker and weaker. As his heart turned to ashes, the last trace of his will to live faded. The mark vanished. His injuries erupted all at once. He collapsed onto Genya's body, eyes unfocused, quietly waiting for death. Take me with you. Big brother's coming to join you. Giving up already? How pathetic. A cold voice shattered the despairing silence. Inosuk had undone his demonization, returning to his human form. Bare-chested, his lean body was covered in countless scars. Move him over here. Inosuk pointed to the shadows inside a nearby room. Don't let the sun melt him. Tanjiro and Zenitsu gritted their teeth and carefully carried Genya's remains into the shade. Inosuk walked over, grabbed Sanemi by the hair, and dragged him like a dead dog to Genya's side, laying them next to each other. Kill me. Sanemi opened his eyes weakly, staring at Inosuk with hollow eyes. Please, kill me. Let me die with him. Die? Inosuk sneered. In your dreams. He pulled a wooden box from his clothes. Opened it. Inside lay 4 syringes glowing with purple light. Demonization serum. Without hesitation, Inosuk grabbed one syringe and plunged it straight into Genya's shattered neck artery. Then, PSHHK. Another syringe stabbed into Sanemi's chest. Ah! Sanemi let out a weak groan. Two dying hearts began pounding violently. Sizzle. As the purple fluid flowed in, Genya's broken body began regenerating at a visible speed. Fractured bones snapped back together with crackling sounds. Missing flesh writhed as if alive, rapidly filling the voids. His skin turned dark gray. A single horn grew from the center of his forehead. His teeth sharpened into fangs. Demonization. On the other side, Sanemi's transformation was even more intense. His hair grew wilder, the white tips tinged faintly purple. His eyes turned pitch black, pupils blazing gold. Black, windblade-like demon markings surfaced along his cheeks. Graha! The brothers roared in agony together. 1 minute later, the regeneration stopped. Genya gasped and sat upright. He touched his chest, then stared at his clawed hands. I didn't die. Brother! Brother! He turned and saw Sanemi sitting up beside him, frozen in shock. Sanemi raised his hands, trembling. His lungs no longer hurt. All his wounds were gone. In their place, a power so full it felt ready to burst. An instinctive fear of sunlight. This is... Sanemi stared at his demon-like hands, then at his horned younger brother. Gratitude? Or despair of a demon slayer becoming a demon? Countless emotions crushed his reason at once. He opened his mouth to speak. Then he looked up. At Inosuke standing before him, backlit like a god. Ino. Bam! Before he could finish even one word, a foot whipped through the air and smashed into his face. Like kicking a soccer ball. Sanemi flew several meters, crashing hard into a wall. Inosuke! Tanjiro gasped. Inosuke pulled his foot back, brushed dust off his pants, and winced at the empty syringes on the ground. He sneered and pointed at Sanemi. Do you have any idea how few of those things I have? Using them on you two idiots. What a waste. He walked up to Sanemi and looked down at him. Remember this, Shinazugawa Sanemi. You owe me 200 million kan. Sanemi clutched his swollen face and tried to curse. You ba. Bam. Another kick, this time straight onto his face. Shut up. Inosuke crossed his arms, eyes full of mockery. Look at the state you're in now. Aren't you the one who hates demons the most? Aren't you the one who kills them on sight? Well, now you've become a demon. And your brother's a demon too. So what? Going to kill yourself? Or carry out righteous justice, kill your brother, then yourself? Sanemi fell silent. He felt the demon blood flowing inside him and looked at Genya, who stared back anxiously. Sanemi lowered his head. The pride of the Wind Hashira shattered completely. Yet the relief of being an older brother filled his chest. He knew. Inosuke had saved them. From a certain death, he had preserved their lives. Even that messenger crow. Inosuke must have intercepted it on purpose. If the other Hashira had arrived, facing so many upper ranks, would they really have one? They would have been wiped out. Had Inosuke once again saved everyone? He glanced at the sky. The sun had risen halfway, sunlight about to flood the land. Enough. Inosuke held up 5 fingers in front of Sanemi. 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, turn human again and get lost with your brother. He turned his back and waved his hand dismissively. Don't let me see you again. With that, he hooked an arm around Tanjiro and Zenitsu's shoulders. Let's go, you brats. Time to find the old man. I'm starving. That fight wrecked my back. The three walked toward the sunlight. Inosuke. Behind them, Sanemi's hoarse voice called out. Inosuke stopped but didn't turn around. Sanemi knelt on the ground, staring at the boy's back. His eyes were filled with emotions too complex to name. I'm sorry. And thank you. He took a deep breath. Can you come back? Back to the Demon Slayer Corps? I'll beg the master. I'll kneel before all the Hashira and explain everything. Inosuke was silent for 2 seconds. He slightly turned his head, revealing half his profile. The first ray of morning sunlight struck his face, making that smile blinding. Ha! Inosuke laughed as if hearing a joke. Mad Dog, have you still not understood the situation? Why would I go back? At the Demon Slayer Corps, I'm a suspected outcast. But here. He spread his arms, embracing the ruins, embracing the world. I'm the young lord of the Eternal Paradise cult. He strode forward, leaving without hesitation. And remember this. The one who saved your life today wasn't the Demon Slayer Hashibara Inosuke. It was Hashibara Inosuke of the Eternal Paradise cult. You owe me 2 lives. Sanemi stood frozen, watching the boy's figure fade into the sunlight. That back shone brighter than the rising sun itself. And felt just as unreachable. You can read full book on Patreon if you're interested. Patreon.com/canonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Chapter 111, Different Paths, bonus chapter. 2073 words. Sanemi Shinazugawa lay in the shadows, quietly watching until the silhouettes of Inosuke and the other 2 vanished completely. His chest rose and fell violently. That heart, just repaired moments ago, had grown not only new blood, but also the deep relief of surviving a calamity. He lowered his head, looking at the black claws on his hands, then touched the demon markings on his cheeks. The sense of power was real. The instinctive aversion to sunlight was real. Had truly become a demon. Be brother. A timid voice came from behind him. Sanemi's body stiffened. He slowly turned around and saw Genya, also huddled in the shadows. A long silence followed. Sanemi opened his mouth. He wanted to curse, to tell him to get lost, to ask if he was in pain. But it was as if something was lodged in his throat. Not a single word came out. Genya saw his brother hesitate like that and grew anxious. He instinctively shrank his neck, his gaze wandering, finally landing on Sanemi's demonized, somewhat ferocious face. Well. Genya fidgeted awkwardly, rubbing his hands together. After holding it in for a long time, he finally blurted out a sentence that made Sanemi's brain crash completely. Actually. Brother. You look kinda cool, as a demon. The air froze. Huh? Did this kid get his brain blown out? At a time like this, what nonsense is he saying? Sanemi raised his hand abruptly. The claw sliced through the air with a sharp whistle. Genya flinched all over, instinctively squeezing his eyes shut and ducking his head, waiting for the familiar blow. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said something stupid. The expected pain never came. 1 second. 2 seconds. Genya cautiously opened one eye. That demonic claw was hovering above his head, less than a centimeter from his hair. And it was shaking. Violently shaking. Sanemi stared at his brother, eyes shut tight, waiting to be hit. Stared at that body which had been blown to pieces, now barely pieced back together only because he had turned into a demon. The last shred of composure he had forced himself to maintain in front of Inosuke and the others. The fierce mask shattered completely at that moment. You idiot! Sanemi's voice broke. The claw gently fell. He suddenly grabbed the back of Genya's head. Sanemi stepped forward and pulled Genya into his arms, hugging him fiercely. So hard it felt as if he wanted to crush his brother into himself, never to separate again. Wah! Years of suppressed emotion burst like a broken dam. The man known as the coldest, most ruthless Wind Hashira was now clutching his brother in the corner of an abandoned ruin, crying his heart out. Why did you follow me? Sanemi cried as he pounded Genya's back with his fist, yet didn't dare use any strength at all. You're the only brother I have. Do you know that? If you'd died, what would I have done? You idiot. A total idiot. Genya froze. He felt his brother's scorching tears soaking into his neck, felt the trembling warmth of that embrace. It was the hug he had dreamed of for so many years. Wawa! Genya finally broke too. He wrapped his arms tightly around Sanami's waist and cried like a wrong 3-year-old. You're the idiot. A super big idiot. I only have one brother too. Genya shouted through his tears. You kept pushing me away, kept telling me to get lost, never forgave me. I was so scared that even on the day I died, you still wouldn't look at me. I thought you hated me, woo. At those words, Sanami's body shook violently. He held Genya even tighter, so tight their bones creaked. I never hated you. Sanami buried his face into Genya's shoulder, his voice utterly shattered. Not once, not ever. I just wanted you farther away from danger. I wanted you to marry, have children. I wanted you to grow old and die peacefully. All this sin. All this danger, it was enough for me alone to bear. This was the secret buried deepest in Sanami's heart. A clumsy love disguised as rage. Hearing it, Genya cried even harder. I don't want you to bear it alone. I want to do it together with you. Genya lifted his head, his horned face filled with stubborn resolve. I'm not the useless brat who hid behind you crying and blamed you anymore. I've gotten stronger too. I can protect you now. Even if we go to hell, I'm going with you. Under the eaves lit by morning light, two monsters held each other tightly. They cried, they yelled, and in those long 5 minutes, they melted away all the missed years, all the misunderstandings, all the unspoken feelings. Until, as the sun rose higher, the drug's effect began to fade, and the signs of demonization slowly receded. The horn withdrew. The fangs fell away. Their skin returned to human color. Sanami felt the change first. He sniffed, awkwardly released Genya, and roughly wiped the tears from his face. That familiar wind Hashira edge returned. How long are you planning to lie there? Sanami stood up and lightly kicked Genya. Get up already. We're going back to the Demon Slayer core. Huh? Back to the core? Aren't we resting first? Genya was still a bit dazed. Sanami straightened his tattered uniform, his gaze firm beyond belief. He looked in the direction Inosuke had left. I still have to go back and explain everything to the master, to all the Hashira. Inosuke is no traitor. Move it. Stop dawdling. Yes, brother. Genya scrambled to his feet, looking at the man ahead of him, still hot-tempered, but now slowing his steps to wait for him. He grinned foolishly. Yoshiwara, a certain luxurious inn. Ha 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 ha. A dojo that opens at night? Third uncle, are you stupid? Or is it specifically for demons? Daki sat cross-legged on the tatami, mercilessly mocking Akaza. Doma and Jutaro were laughing so hard they nearly fell over. Lord Akaza, does anyone really go to a place like that? Won't it be mistaken for a haunted house? Shut up. What do you know? Veins bulged on Akaza's forehead as his face turned red. Only true warriors seek power in the dead of night. He raised his fist threateningly. Third uncle's hitting people. Dad. Third uncle's trying to silence us. Oh my, oh my. Doma sat to the side, watching the chaos, laughing until his eyes narrowed into slits. Lord Akaza, you should be gentler with everyone. Opening at night does sound a bit like a shady shop. How about I sponsor you some lanterns? Get lost. Akaza roared back. In the corner, Kotoha covered her mouth and laughed softly, her eyes curved like crescents. Everyone's so lively. Mr. Akaza looks scary, but he really likes everyone, doesn't he? Daki and Jutaro sat beside Kotoha. They no longer mocked Akaza, just quietly watched her, like two well-behaved cats. Daki peeled an orange and carefully handed it to Kotoha. "Auntie Kotoha, have some. It's really sweet." Kotoha smiled and accepted it. "Thank you, Miss Uemi." Daki gazed at her smile, deep attachment surfacing in her eyes. Just hours ago, this fragile human woman, when facing a lower-ranked demon's self-destruction, hadn't screamed or fled, but instinctively tried to shield Nezuko behind her. And Lord Doma had taken all the damage for her. How nice, Daki thought. I used to hate this place. Hate humans. But now, I don't hate it anymore. As long as Auntie Kotoha is here, I like anywhere. Jotaro said nothing. He simply nudged a teacup closer to Kotoha's hand. Even his jealousy-filled eyes were gentle when he looked at her. After the laughter faded, Inosuke alone walked to the window. He pushed it open and gazed toward the sky over Yoshiwara. The usual roguish grin vanished from his face. What appeared instead was compassion. Inosuke slowly closed his eyes, pressed his palms together, and bowed deeply in that direction. Shozaburo. In his mind surfaced the image of that ragged child who had smashed his head bloody to save his mother, only to become a demon and self-destruct. I don't blame you. Anyone with half a brain knows that was Musen's doing. I hope you and your mother really made it to that heaven, that pure land. He opened his eyes. A deep sense of powerlessness washed over him. He had saved Sanemi. Saved Genya. But he couldn't save Shozaburo. He was still too weak. I must become stronger. When Lady Tamayo finishes the medicine. When the blue spider lily blooms. Musen. I'll make you pay this debt with interest. Just then. Oh. Inosuke, are you praying to the Buddha? Doma appeared behind him without a sound. Leaning against the wall, golden fan in hand, his rainbow eyes narrowed slightly as he observed the boy's back. He had seen Inosuke's sincerity when his hands were clasped. This child. Doma's lips curved into a meaningful smile. He really is different from how I was back then? Back then, Doma sat on a high platform listening to believers' prayers, feeling only disgust and ridicule, thinking humans foolish, death the only salvation. But Inosuke now. He was truly praying for a dead soul. He truly wanted to save everyone. How interesting. Raised by me, yet growing into a true divine child? Dad. Inosuke didn't turn around, just called out calmly. I'm here. Doma instantly switched back to his teasing tone and pounced over to hug him. Did you miss Daddy? Want Daddy to take you for a late-night snack once it gets dark? Get off. Don't wipe your snot on me. Ah, these are tears of emotion. There was no light here. Only endless darkness and burning karmic flames. Shozaburo woke up. He looked around in confusion. He had returned to the appearance of a 6-year-old child. Am I? He curled up, trembling as he looked at the wailing souls burning in the sea of fire. This is hell. A bull-headed jailer said coldly, shoving him hard. Shozaburo. Crime of matricide. You are sentenced to Avicii hell, to suffer without end. Matricide. The words struck like thunder. Memories flooded back. That bowl of poison he had fed her with his own hands. His mother's face bleeding from every orifice. Mom! Shozaburo suddenly jumped up. Ignoring the lashes of the jailer, ignoring the scorching ground beneath his feet, he ran madly through the crowd of souls. Where are you? Mom! Your son is here. He pried open one face after another. Still not her. He ran and ran through hell. Until his feet were raw and bleeding. Until his throat was hoarse and broken. He searched every corner nearby. He had even prepared himself. Even if his mother was being punished, even if she hated him, he would find her and suffer in her place. But Nothing. She wasn't there. Shozaburo stopped. He collapsed onto the scorching ground and stared blankly at the dim sky. She's not. Mom isn't in hell. She's not here. Suddenly, he laughed. It started as soft sobbing, then turned into relieved, unrestrained laughter. Tears streamed down his filthy little face. That's wonderful. He cried and laughed at the same time, slapping the ground. That's wonderful. Mom! You're really not in hell. The divine child didn't lie to me. You were so kind. You gave me all the rice balls, you even gave me the clouds in the sky to eat. You suffered so much, how could you come to hell? You must have gone to heaven, to the Pure Land. There are so many rice balls there, endless new clothes. Shozaburo curled into a small ball. At this moment, he was unimaginably at peace and happy. Mom! I won't go there. I'll stay here. It's dirty here. It hurts here. I'll bear it all by myself. As long as you're up there, enjoying your happiness. Your son will stay here in hell. Bowing to you. The small child bowed deeply toward the empty void above. Amid the karmic flames, he showed the brightest smile of his 6-year life. You can read full book on Pia Trian if you're interested. Patreon.com/Canonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals. Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Chapter 112, Prophecy. 1726 words. On the mountain path leading to the Demon Slayer Corps headquarters, 2 figures walked one behind the other, the atmosphere painfully awkward. Walking in front was Sanemi Shinazugawa. His uniform was torn to shreds and soaked in blood, and paired with that ferocious, murderous face of his, he looked like a demon that had just crawled back from hell. Walking behind him was Genya Shinazugawa, shoulders hunched. He wanted to get closer but didn't dare. He wanted to speak but was afraid of getting yelled at. Be brother. Genya held it in for a long time before finally speaking. Shut up. Sanemi didn't turn his head. His voice was still cold, but the violence that used to come with it was gone. Don't yap. Oh. Genya scratched his head, but couldn't stop the smile creeping onto his face. His brother hadn't told him to get lost. His brother had even slowed down to wait for him. That was enough. The 2 of them walked in this clumsy silence all the way to the gates of headquarters. Just then, 2 overlapping Haori suddenly entered their field of vision. Ju Tomioka. He had returned from his time away. He stood expressionless at the gate, looking at the blood-soaked Shinazugawa brothers. Those deep blue eyes of his showed not a single ripple of emotion. What are you staring at? Sanemi shot him a complicated glare. Wanna fight again? Ju didn't answer. He stared at Sanemi for a while, as if pondering some profound philosophical question. Then, abruptly, he spoke. His voice was calm. I'm not being hated. The air froze. A cold wind swept past, rolling a few dead leaves across the ground. Sanemi froze. Genya froze too. Ha! The veins at Sanemi's temple twitched cheerfully. He seriously wondered if his ears had been damaged by Shozaburo's explosion. What the hell are you talking about? Who asked you? Ju still wore the same blank expression. Sabito's words had untied the knot in his heart. He wasn't hated. But when those words reached Sanemi, the meaning twisted completely. What the hell was he implying? So you're saying everyone hates me now? Don't block the road. Sanemi shoved past Ju and stormed into headquarters. Genya bowed awkwardly to Ju. Tomioka-san, sorry, my brother's not in a great mood. Then he hurried after Sanemi. Only Ju remained at the gate, watching their backs, tilting his head slightly. Is he being hated too? The master's estate. Although Kagaya Abuyoshiki was blind, his hearing was extraordinarily sharp. He heard the heavy footsteps. He smelled the thick stench of blood. Sanemi, you've returned. The master's voice was as gentle as water, though a faint tremor hid beneath it. Are you there as well? Yes, master. Sanemi knelt on one knee and lowered his head deeply. Genya knelt behind him. Report, Kagaya said softly. Sanemi took a deep breath. He neither hid anything nor embellished the truth. He recounted everything that had happened in Yoshiwara. Shozaburo's self-destruction. The simultaneous appearance of 3 upper moons. And how Inosuke had acted, how he had staged that brutal fight to save them, how he had used 2 priceless medicines to drag them back from the brink of death. 4 upper moon-level combatants. The master's fingers tightened slightly. That child faced all of that alone? Yes. Sanemi raised his head. His bloodshot eyes were filled with guilt and reverence. Master, there's something I must clarify. Hashibara Inosuke, even though he's the adopted son of upper rank 2, even though he calls those demons his family, he is absolutely someone we can trust. He truly wants to create a perfect ending. Sanemi's voice choked. Even if misunderstood, even if exiled, even if he had to turn around and save people like us, people who once hurt him. He didn't hesitate for even a second. At that moment, Ju, who had been kneeling nearby, suddenly spoke. So your brain finally grew in? You finally figured it out? Sanemi? He whipped his head around, glaring at Ju, fists clenched so tightly they cracked. Giyu Tomioka. What the hell do you mean by that? Are you saying I'm brainless? Ju looked genuinely innocent. Sanemi wanted to punch him, but suddenly, he felt drained. Because, it was true. That day, it was his impulsiveness, his refusal to think, that had caused everything. It grew. Sanemi muttered through gritted teeth. And Inosuke even kicked it a few times. Ju nodded. Then he asked the question everyone cared about most. That child, does he want to come back? The room fell into dead silence. Even the master turned his head slightly. Sanemi fell silent. He remembered Inosuke's backlit figure walking away in the morning sun. That mocking yet utterly free smile. No! Sanemi finally said hoarsely, lowering his head. He was resolute. And he seems genuinely happy now. At those words, 2 silent streams of tears slid down Kagaya Ubuyoshiki's curse-marked face. I see. His voice was barely a whisper. Happy. That's good, then. He smiled bitterly. Rather than letting him return to a place that hurt and disappointed him. Rather than forcing him back to face our suspicion and outdated rules. It's better not to disturb him. The master slowly raised his hand. A Kasugai crow landed on his finger. We owe that child far too much. If he chose that path, if he can make a flower bloom even in darkness, then the least we can do is not trample that flower. Pass down the order. His voice became solemn and authoritative. Recall all Hashira searching for Inosuke. Rengoku, Shinobu, the others. Tell them, stop searching. Do not interfere with Inosuke's life. Do not attempt to force him back. Let our actions slowly show him that we were wrong. And one day, if the chance comes, we'll repay our debt to him. The crow nodded, let out a sharp cry, and took flight. Moments later, countless Kasugai crows rose from headquarters, a black tide spreading in all directions, flying across the land. At the foot of the Eternal Paradise Cult Mountain, Shinobu Kocho stood by an inn window, gazing at the church shrouded in mist. She didn't want to leave. Suddenly, flap! A Kasugai crow landed on the windowsill. By order of the master, cease the search. All personnel return. Inosuke has been located. He refuses to rejoin. All units withdraw. Do not disturb him. Shinobu froze. The teacup in her hand trembled, tea spilling onto the back of her hand. Found him, but he refuses to return? Do not disturb? She looked toward the church. Did he really not want to see us anymore? Had he truly lost all hope in this place? Her eyes reddened. She bit her lip, staring in that direction as if trying to see through the walls to the boy himself. After a long moment, she took a deep breath and forcibly suppressed the ache in her chest. Since it's the master's order. She turned and picked up her Nichiren blade. Inosuk, if you're living well, then I won't disturb you. Even so. As she turned away, a single tear fell and splashed onto the wooden floor. Somewhere in a small town, at a ramen stall, Kyojuro Rengoku was holding his 10th bowl of ramen when he heard the crow's message. His movements froze. He's been found? Excellent. He was smiling, but the light in his owl-like eyes had dimmed. He doesn't want to come back. That's understandable, after how deeply we hurt him. Rengoku set the bowl down and bowed deeply toward empty space. It is regrettable. But as long as you are safe, young man, that is enough. I will wait for you. No matter how long it takes. Gradually. All the Hashira received the message. Whether they were on missions or desperately searching. They all stopped, looked in the same direction. Then, carrying exhaustion and regret, turned back toward home. Demon Slayer Corps Headquarters, Hashira meeting. This time, there was no arguing. No killing intent. No tension thick enough to cut. All the Hashira knelt in the courtyard. Wind, water, flame, insect, stone, sound, love, serpent, mist. All present. The atmosphere was deathly still. The master sat on the veranda, his face paler than usual. You've all returned, he said softly. Sanemi has already explained the situation, hasn't he? No one spoke. We wronged Inosuk. The master said quietly, yet his words struck like thunder. He is not a traitor. He chose to bear everything alone, to protect us, and for a greater purpose. What we must do now is not disturb him. Not force him back. But silently guard this place. Guard the Demon Slayer Corps. Guard humanity's front line. Until he truly forgives us. Until the day he is willing to return. A suppressed sob broke the silence. Mitsuri Kanroji covered her face and burst into tears. I'm sorry. Inosuke-kun, if only I'd been more firm that day. Abanai Iguro remained silent, his mismatched eyes dim with regret. Shinobu knelt with reddened eyes, staring at the ground. Muichiro Takito looked up. The boy who usually stared blankly at the sky now had tears pooled in his eyes. He looked at the master and asked a question that suffocated the entire courtyard. But what if? What if Inosuke never forgives us? His voice trembled. What if he thinks it's better over there? What if he no longer needs us? What if we never meet him again? Silence. Those what-ifs pierced straight into everyone's hearts. Why should he come back? Why should a simple apology erase such pain? If it were them, they might never forgive the Corps. Despair spread quietly. Sanemi clenched his fists. Ju lowered his head. Rengoku stopped smiling. Then, Kagaya Abuyoshiki raised his head. Behind those blind eyes shone a light that seemed to see beyond the future. He won't. The master said firmly. I have foreseen it. All the Hashira looked up at once. The master gazed into the distance, into the unknown darkness, a compassionate smile on his lips. One night, he will need our help. And when that time comes, that will be the moment we repay everything. You can read full book on Patreon if you're interested. Patreon.com/canonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Chapter 113, The Family Portrait. 1,611 words. Inosuk and the others didn't stay long at the inn. When night fell, they set out together onto the streets of the entertainment district. At night, Yoshiwara was as bright as day. Ha 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 ha. Gonpakiro. Manetsu. Inosuk held several sparklers that sprayed crackling sparks, running wildly at the front like a child who had never grown up. Anyone who blocks the way gets there but burned. Boss. Be careful. Don't set your clothes on fire. Zenitsu chased after him, panting, while also watching out for sparks raining down from above. Tanjiro held 2 sparklers as well, smiling helplessly but indulgently. Inosuk, slow down a bit, don't bump into people. Behind them. Doma wore a yukata that Kotoha had just bought for him, holding a skewer of takoyaki, sticking to her side like an oversized tail. Kotoha-chan, this is tasty. Open up. Kotoha blushed and took a small bite, her eyes curving into a smile. Lord Doma, people will see. Daki walked beside them, one hand tugging on the hem of Kotoha's clothes, the other holding Nezuko's hand. 2 beautiful girls strolling together, turning heads at a 200% rate. What are you staring at? Keep looking and I'll gouge your eyes out. Daki bared her teeth at passers-by, then immediately turned back to Kotoha and clung to her affectionately. Jotaro stayed hunched in the shadows as usual, carrying piles of bags, most of them Daki's purchases. Though he muttered about how troublesome it was, his eyes never stopped scanning the surroundings, wary of anyone who might bump into their group. The most miserable one was Akaza. He'd been forced into a pink yukata, his face black as the bottom of a pot. Why do I have to wear this? Veins popped on Akaza's forehead. And why am I the one carrying all the fireworks? Well, because you're strong, Akazadano. Doma laughed as he looked back. Brilliant fireworks burst open in the night sky. Everyone stopped and looked up. Multicolored light washed over their faces. Demon or human, it didn't matter. The light in their eyes was the same. So beautiful. Kotoha murmured. Doma gazed at her profile, illuminated by fireworks, his eyes so gentle they seemed ready to melt. Truly beautiful. Just then, Inosuk, who had been darting around up front, suddenly stopped. As if he'd discovered a new continent, he pointed at a shabby-looking shop by the roadside and shouted. Hey! Look at that! What is it? Everyone gathered around. It was a photo studio. In the display window were several yellowed black and white photographs, people sitting upright, expressions stiff and solemn. Is this a soul-capturing machine? Tanjiro pressed his face to the glass. It sucks people's souls into paper? Amazing. Put. Zenitsu couldn't help but retort. Tanjiro, that's a camera. It's from the West. It lets you keep someone's likeness. Keep it? Tanjiro froze. He turned and looked at everyone behind him. At Doma's smiling face. At Aunt Kotoha's gentle eyes. At Uncle Akaza's awkward scowl. At Inosuk, smiling right back at him. An inexplicable impulse surged in his chest. Inosuk saw the longing in Tanjiro's eyes. I want to take one. He shoved open the studio door and strode inside. Give this young master the biggest family portrait you've got. Everyone in it. 1 copy per person. The studio owner was an elderly man who looked 80 or 90 years old, wearing thick reading glasses. His hearing seemed poor, his movements slow. Hearing Inosuk shout, he adjusted his glasses and squinted for a long while. Taking a photo? The old man stood up shakily. Not often so many people come. A family? That's wonderful, so lively. The words of family made everyone freeze for a moment. That's right. Doma reacted first, cheerfully throwing an arm around Akaza and Kotoha. We're family. A loving family. Akaza, get lost. Don't touch me. The photo shoot itself, however. That pink-haired young man, stop moving around, stand closer to the middle. The owner directed Akaza. Akaza ground his teeth. I'm not a young man. I'm hundreds of years old. Oh dear, my hearing's not so good. The owner chuckled. That pretty child, squat down in front. Inosuke obediently shuffled forward. That white-haired gentleman, don't smile so stiffly, be more natural. Doma, eh? I'm very natural? Kotoha reached out and gently pinched Doma's cheek. Lord Doma, relax a little. Doma instantly smiled like a fool. At last. Everyone was in position. Kotoha and Doma sat in the middle, Nezuko in Doma's arms. Akaza and Jutaro stood on either side. In front squatted Inosuke, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Daki. Alright, everyone look here. The owner ducked under the black cloth, holding up the bulb-like flash. 1, 2, 3. Bang! Magnesium powder ignited, erupting in a blinding white flash. Enemy attack? Akaza and Jutaro instinctively moved to strike, only to be dragged back by Inosuke. Not an attack. It's the flash. The photo was taken. But the owner said developing it would take time. Probably, until tomorrow morning. The old man said slowly. My hands aren't quick. If you're not in a rush, you can wait. On any other day, this impatient bunch would have left immediately. But today, no one said a word about leaving. Then we'll wait. Inosuke plopped down on the floor and yawned. Nothing else to do anyway. And so, in this tiny photo studio, they waited from deep night until dawn. And from dawn until full morning. They sat together, listening to Tanjiro tell stories of the countryside, listening to Zenitsu complain about harsh training, listening to Doma recount bizarre former followers. Even Akaza was forced to tell a few painfully bad jokes. The owner occasionally brought them hot tea, smiling warmly as he watched. Time seemed to stand still here. Finally, as the first ray of sunlight broke through the sky, the owner emerged holding a still dripping sheet of photo paper. All done, all done. It's developed. Everyone crowded around. On the crisp black and white photograph, everyone's expressions were a little awkward, a little stiff. But, in everyone's eyes, was unmistakable joy. That happiness spilling off the page was something no color could ever replace. How wonderful! Kotoha murmured, eyes wet. Came out ugly. Akaza turned his head away, yet quietly reached out to touch the corner of the photo. Inosuke looked at the picture, at himself, at everyone. He carefully tucked the photo into his chest pocket, pressing it close to his heart. Infinity Castle. Kibutsuji Muzan sat upon his lofty throne. He was reading Shozaburo's memories from before his death. Images flickered through his mind, shaky, chaotic. He saw the ruins of Yoshiwara. He saw Shozaburo hurl himself toward Kotoha, desperate to complete his mission. Then, he saw a figure both familiar and unsettling. In the memory, Doma tossed Shozaburo aside like trash, throwing him toward the gun-wielding demon slayer. Hey, kid, kill him, and you can go to the Pure Land too. Doma's mocking voice echoed. Muzan frowned. Discarded my lower rank for a human woman? TCH. Lower moons are disposable anyway. The scene shifted. Muzan saw the other side of the battlefield. A sight that made his pupils quake. Inosuke and Doma. Father and son, taking turns beating a demon slayer. The Wind Hashira, Sanemi Shinazugawa. The memory was brutally vivid. Doma's fists. Inosuke's whipping kicks. Their methods were merciless. Perfect coordination, beating the Wind Hashira until he was a bloody mess, utterly helpless. Sanemi fell again and again, coughing blood, his life flickering like a candle in the wind. Finally, the memory froze at the instant Shozaburo detonated himself. Just before the explosion swallowed everything, Muzan saw clearly. The Wind Hashira lay motionless on the ground. And Inosuke stood over him, face cold, as if preparing the final blow. The memory ended. That was the moment Shozaburo's soul scattered. Within Infinity Castle, Muzan snapped his eyes open, his crimson-slit pupils gleaming with near-maniacal excitement. Dead? That Hashira is dead. He stood and paced the hall, unable to stop smiling. Ha 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 ha. Inosuke did it. And together with Doma, father and son slaughtered a Hashira. What a delight. What a surprise. Muzan stared at his own palm, laughing almost hysterically. For centuries, I couldn't find the blue spider lily, couldn't wipe out the demon slayer core. But Inosuke, how old is he? And he's already accomplished what so many upper moons couldn't. However, as he laughed, the sound abruptly cut off. His expression darkened, his eyes filling with deep wariness, almost. But why did my lower rank 6 die too? Why is it that every time Inosuke appears, my pieces die inexplicably? Muzan replayed Shozaburo's memories. From being thrown to Genya, to the final self-destruction. It all looked like coincidence, and yet, like something guided by an unseen hand. Inosuke's mind is terrifying. Muzan murmured inwardly. He can hear my heartbeat. He can see through my body's structure. And now he's playing the Demon Slayer core in the palm of his hand. Even making Doma, that emotionless lunatic, obey him. Everything seems to be unfolding according to his design. If one day his blade were to point at me. Muzan shuddered. He remembered the day his secret 7 hearts, 5 brains had been exposed in public. No. Muzan clenched his fist. This won't do. That blade is too sharp. I can't let him grow freely like this. He sat back down on his throne, eyes sinking into darkness. He began to scheme. I must obtain an absolute leverage over Inosuke. You can read full book on Piatrian if you're interested. Patreon.com/Canonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals. Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Chapter 114, The First Peal of Thunder. 1,781 words. Inosuke and his group waited from daytime into night once more. The wooden door of the photo studio was pushed open, cool night air rushing inside. Each of them tucked a black and white photograph into their clothes as they set out together down the road in a grand procession. They were heading back to the Paradise Cult. The lanterns lining the street had grown sparse, yet the excitement on everyone's faces had yet to fade. Hey, Aunt Kotoha, look, did I blink in mine? No, Miss Ume, you look very pretty. He. At the fork in the road, Akaza, who had been silent all this time, came to a stop. He was still wearing that pink yukata, standing out painfully in the group, though he seemed too tired to fight it anymore. I'm not going back. He looked toward the small road leading to the other side of Edo, toward his rundown dojo. There are still some things to take care of at the dojo. Oh? Doma drifted over, fanning himself, that infuriatingly smug grin on his face. One look and you just wanted to punch him. Akazadano, what business could you possibly have? Really not going to reconsider? What's the point of keeping that shabby dojo anyway, so remote, no visitors at all? Why not move it to the Paradise Cult instead? We'll build you a training hall right next to the main shrine. I can even order all believers to practice horse stance for 2 hours every day. Scram! A vein twitched on Akaza's forehead as he shoved Doma's face away in disgust. My dojo will stay in Edo. He lifted his head, gazing at the sky above Yoshiwara, murky, yet still dotted with faint stars. Once, this place had been the beginning of everything he lost. And now, fragments of broken memories in his mind seemed to be piecing themselves together tonight, amid fireworks and laughter, forming something warm. Those blurred figures seemed to be growing clearer. The Paradise Cult is a good place, Akaza said softly, a faint smile tugging at his lips. He looked at the people before him. Aside from that idiot who only knew how to grin Doma, there was gentle Kotoha, the foolish Daki siblings, and those 3 boys over there, staring at their photos and grinning like idiots. I'm off. Akaza waved his hand and turned to leave. Third uncle. Stop right there. A loud shout shattered the mood of farewell. Inosuke came charging in from behind. Akaza halted and turned back with a frown. What is it, brat? Want to challenge me to a blood battle for rank? Like hell. Inosuke rushed up to him and shoved a hand into his clothes, fumbling around. A heavy pile of gold Rio was forcibly stuffed into Akaza's large hand. Take it. Inosuke jutted out his chin, wearing the arrogant expression of this young master is rewarding you. Akaza froze, staring at the gold in his palm, completely baffled. What are you? I don't need human money. Quit yapping. This is an investment, got it? Inosuke jabbed a finger at Akaza's nose, righteous and loud. Your crappy dojo clearly has no business. It doesn't even have a sign anymore. If it shuts down, where am I supposed to freeload? Where am I supposed to train? Listen carefully. This money isn't free. Hands on hips, Inosuke declared. Use it to fix up the place. Buy decent training equipment. Hang up some proper lanterns. Don't make it look like a haunted house. When the dojo grows big, takes in disciples, and starts making money, this young master is taking a cut. 9%. Tanjiro and Zenitsu ran over as well. Tanjiro, face red, pulled out a small cloth pouch, his carefully saved allowance. This is mine. It's not much, but please accept it. Your dojo will definitely become the best in the world. Me too. Zenitsu generously handed over his secret stash. Third uncle, you gotta get a good lock for the dojo. Looking at the pile of money growing higher in his hands, at the sincere yet awkward expressions of the 3 boys, Akaza felt something slam hard into his chest. You bunch of idiots. Ha 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 ha. He suddenly threw his head back and laughed. The laughter was bold and unrestrained, scattering the thin clouds in the night sky. He didn't refuse. He put the gold away, then reached out with those big hands and roughly rubbed the 3 boys' heads, turning their hair into a bird's nest. I'll take this investment. Just wait, I'll make this dojo the #1 under heaven. And when that day comes, if you little brats dare not show up, I'll break your legs and drag you there. Go home. Akaza gave Inosuke's shoulder one last pat, so hard it made him bare his teeth. Then he turned, taking long, powerful strides, disappearing into the Edo night. This time, his back was no longer lonely. Alright, time for us to go home too. Doma flicked his sleeve, ice crystals swirling. If we don't hurry, Dawn will be here. Home. Amid cheerful shouts. Daki carried the sleeping Nezuko on her back, Jotaro lugged all the bags, Kotoha linked arms with Doma, and the 3 kids horsed around. Together, they set off on their way home. Paradise Cult. At this hour, the church was completely empty. Kaigaku held a bamboo broom, sweeping with meticulous care. Over the past few days, he'd scrubbed every floor in the Paradise Cult 3 times over, polishing every incense burner until it gleamed. Phew! Kaigaku wiped the sweat from his brow and stopped. He looked down at the ordinary broom in his hands, his gaze suddenly sharpening. He shifted his stance, knees bent slightly, center of gravity lowered. This wasn't a posture for sweeping. It was the opening stance of thunder breathing. Inhale. Kaigaku took a deep breath, trying to stir that faint current of energy within him. These past days, he hadn't been idle. Thunder breathing, first form. His eyes focused, foot slamming forward. Thunderclap. Flash. Whoosh. The broom swung, kicking up a sharp gust that sent fallen leaves swirling. A weak peal of thunder. A fleeting spark of lightning. Damn it! Kaigaku angrily slammed the broom to the floor. I can feel it already. Why is it always just short? Why can't I fully bring it out? He slumped onto the steps, staring at the empty gate. Frustration and loneliness washed over him like a tide. He hugged his knees, burying his face in his arms, eyes stinging. Just then. Boom! A deafening crash. The vermilion gate he'd just cleaned to a spotless shine was kicked open from the outside with brutal force. "I'm back!" A brazen shout echoed through the hall. Kaigaku jolted, snapping his head up. At the gate, backlit by moonlight, stood a familiar figure. Inosuke held his kicking pose, those multicolored eyes gleaming in the night. His gaze locked precisely onto the broom by Kaigaku's feet. "Oh?" Inosuke grinned, flashing his sharp little fangs, and strode inside, pointing at Kaigaku like he'd discovered a new continent. "Well, I'll be damned, idiot senior brother, you're pretty impressive. Sweeping this late at night." Inosuke?" Kaigaku scrambled to his feet, flustered. I wasn't. I was just playing around with the broom." "Sweeping what? It's already spotless." And then a whole crowd poured in. Doma, Kotoha, Daki, Jotaro, Tanjiro, Zenitsu. The once empty hall was instantly filled with noise and life. "Oh my, this is way too clean," Doma exclaimed, stunned by the gleaming floor. He looked at Kaigaku standing stiffly in the corner, eyes lighting up. Doma vanished, reappearing right in front of Kaigaku. Before Kaigaku could react, he was pulled into a cold yet overwhelmingly enthusiastic hug. "Kaigaku-kun." Doma lifted him off the ground, rubbing his cheek against Kaigaku's face, utterly moved. "You're amazing. You're like the reincarnation of the Snail Maiden. Cleaning the whole house spotless, I'm so touched." Let go of me." Kaigaku's face turned red as he struggled, but the loneliness in his heart melted instantly in that suffocating embrace. "Why didn't you come to Yoshiwara to find us?" Doma finally set him down, ruffling his black hair, his tone more fond than reproachful. "We really missed you. Even if you weren't there, we didn't forget you." As he spoke, Doma pulled out an exquisitely wrapped paper parcel like a magician. "A gift?" Kaigaku froze. Hands trembling, he took the parcel and opened it. Inside lay a neatly folded Haori. Bright yellow, embroidered with white triangular patterns. It looked very much like Zenitsu's Haori, but the fabric was finer. "This is?" Kaigaku's voice caught. "We searched all over Yoshiwara to pick this," Kotoha said gently as she stepped forward, helping him straighten the collar. "We thought this color suited Kaigaku-kun best. It looks so lively. And this. And this too." Zenitsu squeezed forward, excited and a little shy. He pulled out the family photo prepared for Kaigaku. "Senior brother, this is for you." He stuffed the photo into Kaigaku's hands, scratching his head with a sheepish grin. "You weren't there when we took it, and I felt really bad about that. I don't know if we can retake it someday, but..." Kaigaku lowered his head and looked at the photo. Everyone in it was smiling happily. And at the very edge of the picture, where there should have been blank background, someone had clumsily drawn a stick figure with a pen. The stick figure held a broom, had spiky hedgehog-like hair, downturned eyebrows, and beside it were two ugly little characters. "Senior brother." The drawing skill was truly atrocious, so ugly it hurt to look at. But it meant that, at the moment, happiness was frozen in time. Someone had desperately wanted to add him in. To tell him, "You're part of this family too." PFF. Kaigaku's shoulders began to shake as he stared at the ugly stick figure. Tears fell onto the photo without warning, blurring the ink. So damn ugly. He laughed and cried at the same time as he cursed. Suddenly, he reached out and pulled that foolish Zenitsu into a tight hug. He roughly rubbed Zenitsu's golden hair. "Ugly as hell, you useless idiot." Choking up, Kaigaku buried his face in Zenitsu's shoulder. Next time you draw me this ugly again, I'll kill you." In the hall, Inosuke watched the warm scene with a satisfied smile. Tanjiro looked on as well, relieved. Doma and Kotoha exchanged a smile. You can read full book on Patreon if you're interested. Patreon.com/canonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals. Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Chapter 115, Blunt the Edge, Break the Pride. 1,469 words. Ha 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 ha. Inosuke suddenly leaned in, pointing at the ugly little stick figure in the corner and laughing uncontrollably. Zenitsu drew this so badly. He made you look like a puffed-up hedgehog. Don't laugh. Kagaku, wearing his brand new yellow Haori, cursed even as he spoke. He already did great. As long as it captures the spirit, that's enough. Nearby, Kotoha was combing Nezuko's hair. Tanjiro and Jotaro were helping Daki sort through the fabrics they just bought. Zenitsu held the photograph, his face dreamy as he relived the splendor of Yoshiwara. So many beautiful big sisters. If only we could open a branch church over there. A branch church? Inosuke's ears twitched. His eyes lit up instantly. He jumped to his feet, planting one foot on the table. You're right, Zenitsu. He waved his arms wildly, those multicolored eyes blazing with ambition. I've decided. Next phase of the plan. We're opening branches of the Eternal Paradise cult all over Japan. Not just Edo. Asakusa too. Osaka too. We're going to carry Father's brainwashing. Enlightenment techniques forward. We'll convert all those rich people and purify all their money. And then we'll use it to build Third Uncle the biggest dojo ever. Buy Mom the prettiest clothes. And buy you guys endless tempura. Oh. Big brother is wise. Zenitsu was the first to clap enthusiastically. Tanjiro smiled and nodded as well. If it's for everyone's happiness, I'll help. Kotoha covered her mouth and laughed softly. Then you'll have to study bookkeeping properly, Inosuke. TCH. What's hard about accounting? Inosuke lifted his chin smugly. I've got Dad. I'll just dump all that annoying stuff on him. I'm the young master anyway, my job is just to enjoy life and count money. Infinity Castle. This can't go on. Muzan murmured to himself. That blade is too sharp. If I don't put a collar on him, sooner or later, it'll cut me. But, how to control him? No, the secret of the blue spider lily was still on him. Threaten him with Doma? That lunatic now listened to Inosuke instead. Threaten Daki and Jotaro? Those two idiots were useless leverage. Muzan's gaze turned venomous. In his mind appeared the human woman whom everyone had protected with their lives during the Yoshiwara battle. Family, is it? As long as I hold this woman in my hands, Inosuke will kneel at my feet like a dog. But who should capture her? It had to be a demon Inosuke had never met before. One with absolutely overwhelming power. And one who would never listen to Inosuke. Come forth. Muzan spoke softly into the void, his tone unusually even. Steady footsteps echoed out of the darkness. A swordsman stepped forward, wearing a purple kimono patterned with serpents, a grotesque blade covered in eyes hanging at his waist. He had long black and red hair tied into a high ponytail. Most terrifying of all. Set in his stern, dignified face were 6 eyes. Upper rank 1 Kokoshibo. He inclined his head slightly. What is your command? Muzan looked at his strongest masterpiece and nodded in satisfaction. Lord Kokoshibo. I need you to meet someone. His name is Hashibara Inosuke. Doma's adopted son. The current upper rank 5. He's a genius. He created his own breathing style. And, he once infiltrated the Demon Slayer Corps. A few days ago, he even personally killed the Wind Hashira. Muzan narrowed his eyes, studying Kokoshibo's 6 unblinking pupils. Don't you think he resembles you, long ago? Both warriors in pursuit of strength. Both who turned their backs on humanity. Kokoshibo's 6 eyes shifted subtly. After a long pause, he spoke, his voice low. A breathing style user? If he's a genius, why do you need me? Muzin smiled. Because right now, he's a wild horse without reins. He's too proud. Things have gone too smoothly for him. He thinks that with a bit of cleverness, he can do whatever he wants in this world. I want you to shatter his pride. Make him witness what a true god looks like. What an insurmountable abyss really is. Kokoshibo nodded. Understood. Blunt his edge. Break his arrogance. Do not kill him? Correct. Muzin stood and walked up beside Kokoshibo, whispering into his ear. You will fight him and drive him into desperation. And while you do, I will send others to his home to take something from him. Kokoshibo frowned slightly. To take something, why such trouble? It could simply be taken. No. Muzin shook his head, malice glinting in his eyes. That would be boring. I want him to watch. To watch himself be powerless before you. To watch himself lose what he cherishes most before absolute strength. I want him to understand. Everything he has was granted by me. And I can take it back at any time. Kokoshibo fell silent. Slowly, he drew the blade Kokoshibo from its sheath. As you wish. Muzin gestured to Nakaim. The shrill sound of the biwa rang through Infinity Castle. Space twisted. Gravity inverted. The next instant, 3 figures appeared in the great hall. Doma still held half a pastry. Akaza was frozen mid-meditation. Daki and Jutaro stood there, groggy and confused. What's this about? Doma glanced at Muzin seated above, then at the 6-eyed swordsman beside him. His pupils shrank slightly. Lord Kokoshibo is here too? All present. Muzin looked down at the 3 upper moons, a teasing smile curling his lips. No small talk. He issued the command that sent a chill through every spine. Doma! Muzin pointed at him, his voice as gentle as if discussing the weather. Go bring me the woman named Kotoha. Silence. Doma's smile froze. Akaza snapped his head up, golden eyes filled with disbelief. Daki and Jutaro trembled, instinctively wanting to protest. Bring her here? Everyone knew what that meant. Ah! Doma broke the silence. He put his smile back on, shaking his head like he was refusing a spoiled child. That won't do, Lord Muzin. Kotoha-chan is my believer and Inosuke's mother. She's human. Coming here would frighten her. And she just fell asleep. She's been running around. Boom! Doma's head exploded. Blood sprayed everywhere, splattering Akaza and Daki. Do you not understand words? Muzin's gaze was icy. Flesh writhed. Seconds later, Doma's head regenerated. The smile was still there, unchanged, precise. Apologies, Lord Muzin. He wiped the blood from his face. His tone remained respectful. But his stance was immovable. Still not possible. A refusal. A merciless refusal. Akaza clenched his fists. Daki looked like she was about to cry, but she bit her lip hard. Ha 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 ha. Muzin suddenly burst into laughter. He looked at these subordinates who should have obeyed him like dogs. How fascinating. Truly fascinating. What kind of spell do Inosuke and that woman cast? That you worthless things would disobey me for them? His laughter stopped abruptly. But that's fine. If you won't go, someone else will. Muzin turned toward the shadows, toward Kokoshibo. Go, Lord Kokoshibo. Give that ignorant brat a lesson. Jean. The biwa sounded again. Kokoshibo vanished from Infinity Castle. Kokoshibo? This time, Doma truly panicked. He knew far too well how terrifying that 6-eyed monster was. Let me go. Doma shouted. Lord Muzin! Let me go back! Boom! Countless thorn-like tendrils erupted from all directions, pinning Doma, Akaza, and the Daki siblings firmly in place. Too late. Muzin leaned back in his throne, watching the struggling demons with a cruel smile. You don't need to go anywhere. Just wait here. Wait for Lord Kokushibo, and for Kotoha to return. Eternal Paradise Cult. Inosuke was selecting photo frames they'd picked up from the studio. Suddenly, his hand stopped. The frame slipped from his fingers and shattered on the floor. Inosuke snapped his head up, staring deep into the hall. That place should have held Doma's presence, Daki's noisy voice. But now, it was empty. In an instant, all demonic auras vanished, as if forcibly erased. What's wrong, Inosuke? Tanjiro sensed something amiss. They're gone. Inosuke's face went pale. All of them. They would never leave without saying anything, never. An unprecedented wave of panic clenched his heart. There was only one explanation. An Infinity Castle summons. A forced one, no time even to give notice. Something big is happening. Inosuke murmured, his hand gripping the fan at his waist. Just then, an utterly terrifying presence appeared outside the mountain gate of the Paradise Cult. Oppressive sword intent. Every hair on Inosuke's body stood on end. This feeling. He's here. Inosuke clenched his teeth and looked toward the gate. You can read full book on Piatrian if you're interested. Patreon.com/Canonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Chapter 116, The Chorus. 2,215 words. This presence. Inosuke's pupils shrank to pinpoints as he stared fixedly at the tightly shut Vermilion Gate. There was only one presence. Yet that single presence was as heavy as a mountain, as deep as an abyss. He had never felt such overwhelming pressure before. There was only one possibility. Kokushibo. Inosuke ground out the name through clenched teeth. He had never seen him, but there could be no mistake. Upper rank 1. The elder brother of Yoriichi Tsujikuni. The warrior who abandoned everything in pursuit of power. Why is he here? Father and the others just vanished, and Muzin immediately sent this monster? Luring them away and letting Kokushibo strike straight at the heart. Inosuke suddenly turned his head. His gaze passed the panicked Zenitsu and Tanjiro, landing on the woman resting in the bedroom. His heart skipped violently. A chill shot from his feet straight to the top of his skull. It's for Mom. Muzin finally figured out my biggest weakness? Kanpachiro. You idiot, Senior. A roar like thunder exploded through the hall. Inosuke's voice was hoarse and ferocious, carrying an urgency no one had ever heard from him before. Stop standing there, move. He leapt down from the table and rushed into Kotoha's room. Grabbing her wrist, he dragged her out and shoved her straight into Tanjiro's arms. Take my MOM. Take Nezuko. Run to the back mountain. Now. Immediately. Run as far as you can. Don't look back. Don't stop. Even if your legs break, keep running. What? Inosuke? Tanjiro barely caught Kotoha before she fell, completely stunned. He had never seen Inosuke like this. What's happening? Who's outside? We can fight together. Shut up. Inosuke kicked Tanjiro square in the backside, sending him stumbling forward. He turned his back to them and faced the gate. Slowly, he drew the paired fans from his chest. Reflected in the fan's surface was his pale, feral face. That's upper rank 1. His voice dropped low. I don't care how you do it, get Kotoha away. Muzin won't kill me. He's here to take her and use her to control me. Inosuke tilted his head. The exposed multicolored eye was bloodshot. Run! That shout finally jolted everyone awake. Tanjiro smelled it. A stench so thick it made him choke. Go! Biting down hard, tears flooding his eyes, Tanjiro hoisted Konoha onto his back, grabbed Nezuko, and sprinted toward the hidden passage in the rear courtyard. Big brother! You have to live! Zenitsu cried as he dragged the still-dazed Kaigaku along. Don't look back! Their footsteps faded into the distance. The hall was left with only Inosuke. Like a solitary island standing against an incoming tsunami. Creak! The massive vermilion gate was slowly pushed open by a pale hand. Moonlight spilled in like liquid mercury, slicing the darkness into fragments. A tall, imposing figure stepped inside. A purple kimono patterned with serpents swayed with each step. At his waist hung a grotesque blade covered in eyes, radiating ill omen. 6 crimson eyes stared coldly at the boy in the center of the hall. Upper rank 1 Kokushibo. He did not attack immediately. Those 6 eyes examined Inosuke up and down. They pierced through skin, bone, muscle, into the unique structure of his body. So you are Inosuke? Kokushibo's voice was deep. Each word struck like a hammer to the chest. Those eyes resembled Doma's. Inosuke drew a deep breath. He forcibly suppressed the instinctive trembling and pulled his mouth into a wild, arrogant grin. That's right. He wasted no words. No probing. No testing. Against a monster of this level, anything but an all-out first strike was meaningless. The only chance was to go on the offensive. To throw every card on the table in the first second. Ha! Inosuke adjusted his breathing. His temperature spiked. His heartbeat shattered its limits. Rinnichi breathing, first form, frost sky flame dance. Boom! The floor beneath his feet exploded into powder. He became a streak of golden light so fast it vanished from sight. One fan radiated absolute cold. The other ignited with dazzling flame. At the instant he moved. At the instant fire and ice erupted together. Kokushibo's 6 previously calm eyes violently trembled. Time slowed in his perception. What he saw was no longer Inosuke charging toward him. Within that blazing heat, he saw a figure that had haunted him for 400 years. A man in a red haori. Hanafuda earrings swaying at his ears. Yoriichi Tsujikuni. This is. That stance. That breathing rhythm. Sun breathing? No, wait. Kokushibo's grip tightened sharply. All 6 eyes spun wildly, dissecting every detail of Inosuke's body. He saw the frost coiling around the other fan. Supreme heat and absolute cold. Within one body, one breathing style, perfectly balanced. Combining the origin breathing with an unseen one. Impossible. How could a body endure such contradiction? Unless he was a true monster of talent. One even more unreasonable than Yoriichi. A blade rang. No one saw when Kokushibo drew his sword. Moon breathing, first form, dark moon, evening palace. Boom! Inosuke never even got close. He didn't touch a corner of Kokushibo's sleeve. The slash was too fast. Beyond the limits of sight. A bone-deep wound tore across Inosuke's chest, from left shoulder to right abdomen. Blood erupted, splashing across the golden fan. GHK. Inosuke was blown backward, smashing into the high priest's seat and shattering it. He crashed to the floor, vomiting blood, his organs feeling displaced. So this is the gap? He knelt, trembling as he braced himself on the ground. Just a casual swing. A light, almost indifferent slash. And he was nearly dead. If he'd been a fraction slower, he'd already be cut in half. Kokushibo did not pursue. He stood still, blade hanging at his side, the eyes along it shifting restlessly. All 6 of his eyes locked onto Inosuke, filled with disbelief, shock, and rising malice. Who taught you? His voice had changed. This breathing. This body. His gaze fixed on Inosuk's collarbone. There, from the violent exertion, a blue lotus-like pattern was slowly emerging. You awakened the mark. You are upper rank 5. And you wield sun breathing. Kokushibo's hand trembled. Not only with anger, but with jealousy. A jealousy that had burned his soul for 400 years. He had abandoned humanity, become a demon, and spent centuries chasing Yorichi's shadow. And this boy. How old was he? 10-something? He possessed talent rivaling, even surpassing, Yorichi's. And unlike Yorichi, he would not die as a human. Then what was his centuries of struggle? Musen's order? Blunt his edge? Those thoughts were cast aside. Before this twisted pride and all-consuming envy, orders meant nothing. Genius. What a revolting genius. Kokushibo's voice turned glacial. Killing intent froze the entire hall. You must die. You want to kill me? Feeling that absolute killing intent, Inosuke laughed even more wildly. No choice then. I have to stall him. If a human body won't do. Demonification activate. Jet black demonic aura erupted skyward, shattering the floor. His wounds regenerated at visible speed. Blue lotus patterns spread across his face. Silver red hair lifted without wind. 7-colored glass eyes, gold red pupils. Upper rank 5. In an instant, he transformed from a human swordsman into a powerful demon. He stood again, his presence several times stronger. Come again. He roared and charged once more. Moon-breathing, 6th form, everlasting night, lonely moon infinite. Kokushibo showed no restraint. Countless intersecting blade winds erupted, mixed with innumerable crescent moon slashes, shredding the hall instantly. Pillars collapsed. The roof was torn away. This was a killing strike. Blood demon art, fog ice, lotus bodhisattva. A massive bodhisattva of black-red ice surged up before Inosuke. Boom! Moonblades slammed into the ice statue. Before Kokushibo's full power, it was like paper. It shattered instantly, less than a second. A flash of cold light. Inosuke had no time to react. The world suddenly flipped. Everything turned blood red. Then the pain hit. Half his head was gone. Blood sprayed like a fountain, soaking the shattered carpet. GHH. Inosuke collapsed to his knees, still gripping the fan. With his remaining eye, he saw Kokushibo advancing like divine punishment. Too strong. So this was the monster that had ruled the summit for centuries. Kokushibo raised the grotesque blade, preparing the final blow. Such talent. Be destroyed. Destroy me. Inosuke's voice was slurred, half his mouth gone. But his demonic blood surged wildly. Flesh and nerves were already weaving his missing half back together. The pain was unbearable. His consciousness was on the verge of collapse. He couldn't die. If he died, what about Mom? Roar! Ignoring his half-regenerated head, Inosuke charged again. Like a moth flying into flame. Back mountain of the Paradise Cult. Tanjiro ran through the forest with Kotoha on his back. Zenitsu dragged Nezuko. Kaigaku guarded the rear with sword in hand. Branches tore their faces, but no one stopped. Inosuke. Inosuke didn't come. Kotoha sobbed uncontrollably, clutching Tanjiro's clothes. Tanjiro bit down hard, tears trembling in his eyes, but he didn't dare look back. We have to live. We can't waste what he's buying us. But. Rustle. Dense footsteps suddenly echoed through the forest. Disgusting demonic auras closed in from all sides. He, found you. That woman's scent is here. Dozens of shadows dropped from the treetops, blocking their path. Not ordinary ones. Each had been strengthened by Musen, each close to lower rank level. Musen's hunting pack. Hand over the woman. A leading demon lunged, claws aimed at Kotoha's throat. Not a chance. Thunder breathing, first form, thunderclap and flash. Golden lightning split the night. Zenitsu didn't hesitate. Using a Nichiren blade taken from the Paradise Cult's armory, he severed the demon's neck in one strike. Their original swords were left at the Demon Slayer Corps, but the armory still had backups. That was close, it's dull, but it works. Zenitsu's palms were slick with sweat, but he planted himself in front of Kotoha. Everyone, be careful. There are too many. Tanjiro set Kotoha down against a tree and drew his blade. Water-breathing, 10th form, constant flux. A water dragon danced through the forest, cutting down demon after demon. Kaigaku grit his teeth and took position on the other side. 3 boys. Surrounded by endless demons. Back to back, they formed a circle, shielding the gentle woman within. Don't be afraid, Aunt Kotoha. Tanjiro's voice was iron steady. We won't let them touch you. Demon Slayer Corps headquarters. The night was silent. Abuyashiki Kagaya sat on the veranda, feeling the evening breeze. Suddenly, his heart convulsed. A powerful unease surged through him. Flap flap. A Kasugai crow stumbled down and landed on his hand, gently pecking him. The strange behavior made his chest tighten. This matched the prophecy exactly. His hand trembled. Tears slid soundlessly from his blind eyes. So soon. The night of the prophecy, already here? The night he had spoken of at the Hashira meeting. The night Inosuke would need them. There's no time. The gentle man erupted with unprecedented decisiveness. He raised his arm, sending the crow skyward. Issue the order to all. His voice, though soft, carried through the crows across headquarters. Follow Shinobu Kocho to the Eternal Paradise Cult. Inosuke needs us. This is the debt the Demon Slayer Corps owes him. Butterfly Estate. Shinobu Kocho was organizing medicine. The instant she heard the crow's cry, the bottle in her hand shattered. Inosuke needs help. Her pupils constricted. Damn it! Tears burst from her eyes. Weren't you supposed to be happy? Boom! She smashed through the window and leapt out. Nichiren blade in hand, she sprinted across rooftops like a maddened butterfly. All units, move out! She screamed into the night. In the next second, from every corner of the Corps, countless crows took flight. Drawn by some unseen call, they gathered behind Shinobu. A black mass, hundreds, thousands strong. A dark convoy escorting the enraged insect Hashira. Shinobu charged at the front. The crow swarm blotted out the sky. Wait for me. Elsewhere. By a campfire, Rengoku Kaijuro rose instantly upon hearing the message. The rock beneath his feet cracked. Flame-breathing, total concentration, constant. He became a blazing meteor racing across the land. Hold on, young man. By a riverbank, Jutomioka stared at the water. The crow's call reached him. His eyes sharpened. Confusion vanished. He drew his blade and sprinted across the water like an arrow, white spray trailing behind. Sabito, protect that child. Sanemi Shinazugawa had just finished a mission when he heard. His scarred face twisted into a ferocity worse than any demon. Needs help? With his power and background, what could threaten him? The Demon King? Sanemi drew his newly forged blade. No matter what. This time, I help you. That night, black crows circled the sky. A dark convoy followed Shinobu like a spear piercing the heavens. All the Hashira were racing behind it. All converging on one place. The Eternal Paradise Cult. You can read full book on Piatrian if you're interested. Patreon.com/Canonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Chapter 117, It's fine, he won't die anyway. 1987 words. Boom. The Grand Hall of the Eternal Paradise cult was no longer a building. Countless violet crescent blades flooded every inch of space. Pillars were severed, the roof torn away, even the hardened stone floor was sliced apart like tofu by those bizarre, circular moonblades. Rin Nichi breathing fifth form blazing sun. Blue lotus markings spread across half of Inosuk's face. His silver-red hair whipped wildly within the storm of sword aura. The refined gold twin fans in his hands spun to their absolute limit, their surfaces forming a golden barrier that guarded his throat and heart with desperate precision. Dense impacts fused into a continuous line of sound. Every second, at least 100 blade winds slammed into him. GHK. Inosuk let out a muffled groan, black blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. His neck was protected, but the rest of his body wasn't. Countless thin moon blades slipped past his defense, carving into flesh, even scraping bone. Pain that cut straight into the marrow, yet that wasn't the most terrifying part. Inosuk's heterochromatic eye was locked on the translucent countdown hovering at the edge of his vision. Demonification remaining time, 3:42. Less than 4 minutes. He could only maintain demonification for 5 minutes a day. Once time ran out, he would revert to a fragile human body. At that point, even a stray aftershock, let alone a killing technique, would shred him to pieces. Moon-breathing 7th form calamitous mirror moon reflection. Kokushibo didn't move. He merely stood there, lightly swinging Kayaka Kokomushi. The sword aura on the ground suddenly changed. No longer straightforward slashes, but fan-shaped waves that reflected off the floor, attacking Inosuk from all directions without a single blind spot. What kind of bullshit technique is this? Inosuk's pupils trembled violently. 2 moonblades bypassed the fans and pierced straight through his shoulder and left leg. Too slow. Kokushibo's 6 eyes coldly observed him, disappointment and killing intent thickening in his voice. You possess a breathing style like Yorichi's. Yet this is all you can do? You insult your own talent. He showed no restraint. Every strike was aimed at reducing Inosuk to minced meat. Orders had long been thrown aside. At this moment, Kokushibo wanted only one thing: to erase this boy who was squandering a gift that should never have existed. Infinity Castle. Kibutsuji Muzan was watching the one-sided slaughter through Kokushibo's eyes, thoroughly entertained. A satisfied smile curled his lips. Exactly like this. Break his limbs. Tear open his flesh. Let him understand that in the face of true power, his little tricks are worthless. Muzan had no idea about Inosuk's 5-minute limit. He assumed the boy's desperation was simply the result of absolute suppression by Kokushibo's overwhelming strength. He saw the panic in Inosuk's eyes. The despair of someone on the brink of death. After all, he wouldn't really die. Doma. Muzan turned toward Doma, who was still pinned in place by thorny tendrils, his tone teasing. Your precious son is being dismantled piece by piece? Doma didn't smile. That face, which was always laughing, was now as cold as obsidian ice. Deep within his rainbow-colored eyes, emotions churned, emotions he had never known before. But Doma said nothing. He was waiting. Back mountain, deep forest. The battle here was just as brutal, but the situation was completely different. Thunder-breathing 7th form flaming thunder god. A golden thunder dragon roared as it tore through the darkness. Zenitsu's figure moved so fast it was nothing but a streak of gold. The massive aberrant demon at the front didn't even have time to scream before its head flew into the air, the severed edge scorched black. Not over yet. Zenitsu landed, legs taut, Nichiren blade sheathing itself. To protect Nezuko and Kotoha behind him, he unleashed his full strength. On the other side. Inakami Kagura blue sky. Tanjiro's blade burst into blazing flames as he carved a perfect arc through the air. Fire swept outward, instantly beheading 3 demons attempting a sneak attack. Don't you dare get one step closer to Aunt Kotoha. And Kaigaku, once consumed by jealousy towards Zenitsu, was now fighting more ferociously than anyone. Using the Nichiren blade he'd brought to the Paradise Cult, he flashed through the demon horde with Thunder Breathing's explosive speed. Thunder Breathing fourth form Distant Thunder. Kaigaku became a streak of black lightning, appearing behind a demon and driving his blade straight through its eye socket. In just a few minutes, dozens of demons near lower rank level were slaughtered by these three boys, leaving behind nothing but slowly fading ash. Ha! The three stood back to back, gasping for breath. They were covered in blood, some demonic, some their own. Suddenly, boom! A heaven-shaking explosion came from the direction of the Paradise Cult. Immediately after, a gigantic crescent blade shot into the sky, flattening half a mountain. The terrifying pressure made even the air here shudder. That's... Tanjiro spun around, pupils contracting. Inosuke. That level of battle was on an entirely different plane from what they were facing in the forest. Inosuke's scent was becoming chaotic. No! Tanjiro clenched his teeth and made a decision. He turned and stared straight at Zenitsu. Zenitsu! You take Aunt Kotoha and Nezuko and run. Use your fastest speed, head toward the Demon Slayer Corps. Then what about you? Zenitsu shouted. I'm going to help Inosuke. Tanjiro gripped his sword, his gaze terrifyingly firm. If I don't go, he'll really die. I'm going too. Kaigaku wiped blood from his face, eyes sharp and vicious. Letting him act cool alone over there? Zenitsu, you're the fastest. Escort duty is yours. If a single hair on Aunt Kotoha is harmed, don't you dare call yourself my junior. Zenitsu looked at their resolute expressions, biting his lip as tears welled up. He knew this was the right call. Got it. He took a deep breath, eyes burning with focus. He lifted Kotoha onto his back and grabbed Nezuko's hand. Wait for me. I'll get Aunt Kotoha to safety and come right back. Whoosh! Zenitsu vanished toward the Demon Slayer Corps. Watching him go, Tanjiro and Kaigaku exchanged a glance, said nothing, and turned back without hesitation. Eternal Paradise Cult. Demonification remaining time, 1:12. 1 minute left. Inosuke had reached his limit. His body was riddled with wounds. Even with demon regeneration, healing could no longer keep up with the damage. His stamina, his focus, was being wrung dry by Kokushibo's endless moonblades. Ha! Half kneeling, Inosuke's left arm had been severed at the shoulder, flesh slowly sprouting to regrow it. He stared at the six-eyed swordsman before him. Unharmed, unbreathing, untouched. I can't win. I can't even touch him. Everything's been seen through. Kokushibo seemed bored now. It ends here. He raised Kayaka Kukamushi, no mercy in his 6 eyes. Your path ends now. Moon-breathing 14th form calamity full heaven slender moon. A wide area annihilation technique. Massive crescent blades descended like an inescapable net from the heavens. Going to die? Here? As Inosuke stared at the sky filled with moonblades, a pink-haired man appeared in his mind. Akaza. The man who had beaten him down again and again on the training grounds, then taught him again and again. Don't rely on your eyes. Feel it, feel the fighting spirit, the muscle contraction, the blood flow. When you discard all distractions, the world becomes transparent. Transparent. Inosuke closed his eyes. At the brink of death, he forced himself to forget fear, time, pain. Sound vanished. Kokushibo's skin became transparent. He saw the terrifying muscle fibers beneath, the river-like blood flow. He saw the tiny twitch of muscle just before the swing. I see it. That instant, an opening. Inosuke's pupils vanished, turning into a pale, empty white. Transparent world open. At the instant the moon blades were about to tear him apart. Inosuke moved. He stepped forward. That step was absurd. Against all logic. Like a fallen leaf weaving through rain, he slipped through the airtight blade net at an impossible angle. 3 inches left, avoid the main blade. Tilt 15 degrees, avoid the crescent. Crouch, avoid the horizontal slash. Inosuke appeared directly in front of Kokushibo. Distance, half a meter. For the first time since the battle began, he was this close. All 6 of Kokushibo's eyes widened. What? He saw that world reflected in Inosuke's eyes. Transparent world? You awakened it. At the brink of death? Die. Inosuke swung his right-hand fan. Rinnichi breathing final form solar will sunburst thrust. The fan closed, becoming a blade. Carrying the power of sun breathing. An absolute killing intent, it stabbed straight for Kokushibo's throat. Blood sprayed. Kokushibo tilted his head at the last instant, but the fan tip still sliced his neck, severed a lock of black-red hair, and burned a blackened scar across his face. Dead silence. Kokushibo touched the blood at his neck. For centuries, aside from Yorichi, no one had ever wounded him. Today, a boy barely in his teens had done it. Very good. Kokushibo's expression twisted completely. You must die. The road to the Paradise Cult. Wind howled. Trees blurred past. Shinobu Kocho led the charge. She was moving at her absolute limit, lungs burning, but she didn't care. Behind her flew the sky-darkening Kasugai Crow convoy, crying out directions. There. Shinobu pointed toward a distant mountain peak. Purple crescent light still flickered there. I see it. Not far behind her, 3 figures were rapidly closing the distance. That light? Sanemi Shinazugawa, new blade on his back, face feral. He's making this big a mess. What the hell did Inosuke run into? Hold on. Rengoku Kyojuro was wreathed in flames, each step smashing craters into the ground. Jutomioka said nothing, but his speed was no slower. His blade was already drawn, eyes locked ahead. Farther back. Yuzui Tengen. Iguro Abanai. Takito Machiro. They were all sprinting. Watching the crow swarm in the sky like a lighthouse, only one thought filled their minds. Don't lose them. Eternal Paradise Cult. Demonification remaining time, midnight. Miracles last only an instant. The explosive awakening of the transparent world drained Inosuke's final reserves. As the timer hit 0, the demonic state sustaining his body vanished like a receding tide. The lotus markings faded. Silver red hair returned to black-blue. He became human again. A human who could barely stand. His body went weightless, then crushing pain and weakness crashed down. The wounds Kokushibo had inflicted burst open without demonic suppression. Blood flooded the shattered ruins. It's over. Kokushibo looked at the now human Inosuke. His caution vanished, replaced by naked cruelty. A time limit? Or were you underestimating me? Either way, die. He raised his blade. A plain, unadorned downward slash. In Inosuke's current state, it was unavoidable execution. Going to die? As the blade fell, Inosuke's vision blurred. No. I can't die. Kotoha isn't safe yet. Those idiots haven't run far enough, we haven't seen that perfect ending yet. Who gave me permission to die? Madness ignited in his eyes. His hand moved faster than human limits into his chest. There was a small wooden box. A dose meant for someone else. The same medicine he used to save the Shinazugawa brothers. A microsecond before Kokushibo's blade touched his scalp, Inosuke plunged the injector straight into his own heart. A thunderous heartbeat echoed like a war drum through the entire hall. Boom! A surge of demonic energy far more violent than before exploded outward. The shockwave blasted an unprepared Kokushibo 3 steps back. As the dust settled, a far more grotesque figure slowly rose from the crater. Kokushibo. Inosuke clenched his twin fans. Come again. You can read full book on Pia Trian if you're interested. Patreon.com/Cannonbreaker. Sparkles bonus chapter goals. Sparkles. 10 reviews equals 1 bonus chapter. 100 power stones equals 1 bonus chapter. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Sally Fox Audiobook.